Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to work with Microsoft Azure skill set. So once you're logged into your Microsoft Azure account, you can search for the word scale, and once you're at the screen, virtual machine skill set screen, just create a new virtual machine skill set and then name your virtual machine skill set. Now skill sets are used for the set of identical servers, so identical VMs. So I'm going to name this skill set will be serving web services. I'm just going to call this web services VSS skill set 001, and so the value, so 01, and I will create a new resource group, so that will be web services resource group 1, and you can select your location, the password. So this username and password will be used this username and password will be used for the VM that will be part of the skill set. So I'm gonna first keep them in a notepad so that I don't forget the username and password. So web VM password 1. So I'm gonna use this as a username, and I am going to use as a password. So in this so to start with, in this skill set there will be 2 VMs to start with, and I'm going to use DS1 V2. So I'm going to leave the hardware, or you can select any type of hardware while making a skill set. So in this skill set, skill set are somewhat like clusters in Microsoft or any other technology, basically more like a network load balancer clusters, so where we use identical servers. So the skill set name is this, and it will be part of this resource group, and the username password for the VMs, the 2 VMs that will be created, will be this, and the hardware will be used as this. It will be managed disk. There are no auto scaling rule at the moment. I'm going to disable it. I can create auto scaling rules right from here, that if the CPU on the VMs reaches to 75% at 1 VM, but as soon as the CPU threshold reaches below 25, or let's say reaches 25, decrease by 1 VM. But I'm not gonna use this rule at the moment because I need to show you how to create rules manually. So here for a skill set we can use application gateway, but you need to set up application gateway before setting up the skill set. I'm going to select load balancer. I'm going to name it web serve load balancer 1, and the name web serve domain name 1, and let's see, and create. So it will run a quick validation test, and it will start creating a skill set. So it is creating a skill set. So in the meantime, I'm going to pause this video. Once the skill set is ready, I'm going to come back and continue with the video. So it took around 10 minutes for creating the skill set. So I'm going to go to the resource. Now this is your skill set. So before going into this, let me show you how many resources are made with the skill set. So skill set is created, there is a load balancer automatically created with the skill set, and then there is a security group, virtual network, and one public IP is assigned to this skill set. So if I go into the skill set, here we can see the overview. This public IP address is assigned. So with this public IP address we can access all of the VMs within this skill set. You can see the activity log here. The instances are the VMs that are created inside the skill set. So there are 2 VMs created because we said in the beginning that 2 VMs are required in this skill set. For scaling, there is no rule at the moment. So as soon as the menu is loaded, so no rule at the moment. If we see the run history, so it has not run because there are no rules at the moment. We haven't enabled auto scaling in scale set. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create enable auto scaling. So once we create enable auto scaling, I'm going to name this auto scaling. So I'm going to name this web serve auto scaling 1, and the resource group will be the same. Now when we create an auto scaling rule, auto scaling simply means that a VM can be automatically added to this scale set, or and automatically deleted from the scale set when a certain metric or when a certain rule is applied. So a rule can be based on a metric value. Metric means it can be based on CPU, RAM, disk, network, or it can be, there are many metric values, or scale to be specific instance count. So here I'm gonna use the metric and add rule. And when adding a rule, many of the fields are automatically filled up. All we need to do is to, so in this case it is average for percentage CPU. You can take minimum, total, last, count. Here I'm going to take average, and I'm going to take CPU, percentage CPU. We can create a rule based on disk read, CPU credits, disk write, and so on. So here I'm going to go with the CPU and average, and greater than, as soon as it is greater than 70%, CPU is greater than 70% for 10 minutes duration, increase the count by 1 instance. And there is a cooldown time. Cooldown time is monitoring, is once a new VM is created, the scale set rules are suspended for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes it will again start monitoring, and even after adding one more VM, the scale set again goes to 70%. It will again create another, it will add another VM. So here I'm going to add this is called scale out rule. Now I need to create another rule for scale in. Scale in is basically how to decrease the number of VMs. So I'm going to say when the CPU, percentage CPU is less than 40%, and the time duration is 10, I'm going to say 5 minutes. So decrease the count by 1, and the cooldown period is the same. So added. Now since two rules are added, so scale out rule and scale in rule. In scale out rule, I'm going to change this to 5 minutes, so that we can just wait. We should just wait for 5 minutes between the interval, between it's creating a new VM. Now here, no, actually the 5 minutes is the time of monitoring durations. If for 5 minutes straight the CPU remains at 70%, a new VM will be created. Now here we need to set up minimum and maximum limit for the scale set. So minimum there will be only 1 VM, and maximum there will be 3 VMs, and default is 1 VM. So one remains the same. So which means that if the scale set starts working, we have 2 VMs in the scale set, it should automatically delete. If the scale set is working, it should automatically remove one of the VMs. So here I'm just gonna keep 1 minimum and 3 maximum. So save. So as soon as the rule gets updated, we will go to the instance. So it is setting up the rule. So here, update scale set configuration. Now sometimes you do get an error message. The first time when you're setting up the scale set. The error message is basically regarding Microsoft Insight registration. So if you get that error message, then what you need to do is, let me see if I can show you previous error messages. I think all error messages are removed. But let me show it to you. So if you get that error message, all you need to do is to go to the subscription, and then within the subscription you need to go to, so let's let it load, and we need to go to our free trial account, and all we need to do is go down to resource providers, and inside resource provider we'll look for Insight. So here, this one, in my case, it is registered. In by default, when you have a free trial or any account, this will be like this, not registered. So all you need to do is to register this namespace, and all you need to do, just press register and it will be registered, and then recreate the rules. The rules will work. So if you get that error message, you know where to fix it. So I'm going to go back, and here is the scale set, and let's look at the instances. So scale set is scaling, auto scaling is done. Let's see. So we do have a rule. Let's see a run history. So it has not run yet. So let's see, it will be running in next 5 minutes. So disable auto scaling, we can disable it anytime. I'm gonna refresh it, and once the auto scaling is in place, so here we said minimum instances and the scale set is 2. We have 1, so 1 will be removed in few moments. So let's leave it to this. And one more thing that I want to show you in scale set, that how to connect to the VMs in the scale set. So when you have a Microsoft Azure VM, you can connect to the VM by using a public IP address, but in this case we have 2 VMs and 1 public IP address. So here, in order to connect to all of the VMs within the scale set, we need to go to inbound NAT rules, and inbound NAT rules, you can see that there are 2 VMs, so 2 VMs but 1 public IP address. In order to connect to these VMs, we need to use this IP address with this port number. So I'm going to show you how to connect. So first of all, open remote desktop connection and type an IP address. So here, just like this, I can type an IP address, which is 4 in this case, 40.80.4, and use the port number. So you connect to VM1, use the port number. So it is connecting, and the password. So this is why I save the username and password, so that we don't have to type the username and password, number 1. Number 2, we don't forget what was the username password we used. So here, so this is how we can connect. So, and I'm going to connect to the second VM as well. So I'm going to connect to the second VM, and that is port number 5002. Where am I getting the port number? It's right here. So this is the port number, this is the IP address. So here, so it will ask for the password, and it will ask for the certificate if it is able to connect, and then it will be able to connect. So here is my first server. Now in order to test a scale set, and in order to see that when the CPU reaches 70%, it should be a scale set should be able to add 1 VM. What we can do on a server, we can use a CPU stress test application, and there are many applications available over the internet. So once the server loads, we can install the application, and that would stress out the CPU. So I need to use the internet on this server, one of the VMs. So I will go to first local server and disable IE security, IE enhanced security, because what happens is if you don't disable this, then on each web page it will keep on asking to add the page on a safe site. So add the page as a safe website. So here it is off now. So I'm gonna go down and go to a website and look for something called CPU stress test. I'm gonna go with CPU stress test. So in the meantime, so this is my server 1 and this is server 2. On the server 2, I'm gonna do the same thing. So here I can switch it off, and I will open internet, and I will look for CPU stress test, and here we can have free stress load tool. I'm gonna go with the first one, or actually, we can go with this Prime 95. This one is easier to use, although these other tools can be used as well. So I'm gonna go to the first machine. So here it was CPU stress test, and I'm gonna go down here, Prime 95, and in Prime 95 what we can do is we can go down and download this tool and download 64-bit version, open, and once it is open we can install it, extract. So it is extracted, and here it is started. So here it is started, just stress test. So we can close this for now and cancel this for now. I'm gonna just adjust this right here, and I'm gonna open here task manager. So I'm gonna open here task manager just to keep an eye on the CPU. So CPU is actually already at 99%, and probably this is the case why the other VM is there. And let me check the other server, because actually why is it on 99%? Because what we did, we used a hardware that is already stressed out with the Windows Server 2016. So this one is also at 99%. So let's see, in this case we don't even need a scale set. In this case actually it will be a bit difficult for us to bring down the CPU because CPU is already at this, but let's see if the scale set is working. So I'm gonna go back to here, go to scale set, and go to instances. So I do have 2 instances, and within scaling I can see, let's look at the run history. So run history, notify, we can set up a notification. So run history saying that it has not reserved capacity. Actually, let's look at the activity log, and within the activity log we've written to the scale set. Where is it? Let's see, scaling, it should be right here actually. So let's look at our scale set rule. So instance count is 2. When scale set reaches 70%, greater than 70%, for 5 minutes duration, add 1 VM. So yes, this is fine. And we do have a scale in, and minimum number of instances is 1, maximum is 3. So if the scale set is properly working, then it should add another VM, because we can see that the CPU is already reaching 90%. It's more than 70%. So let's give it a rest. Maybe it will wait for 5-10 minutes, and once it is applied, then I will continue recording. I will come back. So I'm going to pause the video here. I'll just leave it as is for now. So I waited for around 10 minutes, and I can see that there are 2 new instances being created. Now if we can go to the history, if we can go to the history, where is the history? Right here we can go to the activity log. Scale set has been running. Scale set has been running here. So this is activity log. Scale set results. Scale up was succeed and create an update virtual machine. If we go down to scaling, within scaling we can see the rules within overview. Actually, in scaling we can go to the run history. Within the run history we can change it to 1 hour. It has been working from 8:50 to 9 a.m. now, so it's been 10 minutes since scale set is running, and scale set is running successfully. So with the now at any point in time when we can so if the CPU goes down to 90%, as for now we can see one of the VM is 98%, the other CPU is 97%, so both of them are basically sitting at 90% on average. So scale set is working fine. So guys, this is how we can work with scale set. It says, you can see in configuring and scale set is very easy. If you're coming from Windows background, just if you can remember a network load balancer concept, it's exactly the same concept. The only thing added and flexibility is the elasticity. Automatically the scale set is so elastic. All the cloud services are so elastic. This is where all of the resources can be automatically added and automatically removed. So scale sets are basically for the use of identical VMs. It can work with websites, it can work with gaming servers where users are keep on connecting, and servers will keep on expanding, and server can be reduced based on the load on CPU. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next video.